everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us this morning is your senior editor for AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hey guys, our last show before the holiday break, and this is actually the first time I've been back since our 100 mil celebration, which I just want to thank everyone again. That was the most spectacular evening for everyone who watched and commented or who was actually here, and I just have so much love and gratitude for you, so thanks again.
Also here is your editor-in-chief for AMC Movie News, John Campea.
I puked a lot last night. I've been very sick, but I'm back. Yay!
TMI, John, TMI.
Yeah, we all saw those Facebook statuses. Also here is AMC's Alicia Malone.
And I've been traveling for a while, but I'm excited to be back here talking movies.
And AMC production manager, Dennis Zen.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Is my sound on? Sorry about yesterday, guys. I accidentally turned I accidentally turned it off. Well, I didn't turn it on accident, but I forgot to turn it back on. So hopefully you guys can hear me now.
Way to play hard to get. I like it.
Yesterday marked 1 year out from Star Wars The Force Awakens being released. J.J. Abrams and team put out a new video thanking everyone for donating $4.26 million to UNICEF through the Star Wars Force for Change charity effort. Abrams, producer Kathleen Kennedy, and many others from set said thank you, but the real treat was hearing it from Chewbacca and R2-D2. Amy Rose, your thoughts on the video?
This video made me so happy. Like, this is exactly what I want to see these celebrities and directors and people do, use their status for good. And that 4.6, that's so impressive and so incredible. And it just shows the power of cinema and love and charity working together for something like this. And seeing Chewie and R2-D2, are you kidding me? And like, I know people are watching this trying to find little Easter eggs and other little tells. It's not maybe as filled with them as the other videos, but I'm sure there's some little hints. But I just love it. I love JJ. I'm so excited for this. Yesterday felt like a holiday. We're a year out, you know, like it's just I'm so excited. So yeah, this video it makes me really happy that, especially holidays, this time of year, that people are really doing something, pay it forward. So thanks for everyone who contributed. John?
I always think it's really nice. I think generally speaking, people are givers, really. I mean, yes, we are selfish and we're all these kind of things, but also within all that, I think people are generally, we like to give. And I really like it when people who have some spotlight or have some attention can say, hey, everybody, let's give something, and just rally people. And when they do, people rally. And I think that's great. Over $4 million. I think that was on top of what Disney donated.
Yeah.
Disney started it. So yeah, we'll start things off with $1 million for children around the world. I think that's awesome. I think that's great. It also comes back to that whole word I made up, the tangibilization. 1 year. One more year till a new Star Wars movie. I'm really excited about that, so it was great.
Alicia?
You're not going to be able to sleep the night before. You're going to be excited.
No, I'm not.
Even I'm excited about Star Wars, and I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but it feels like a real event, something that we didn't think would be coming, and it is exciting that it is coming, and we can see little bits and pieces. But JJ is great. He's always been so focused on charity. So in his Bad Robot production company, he has Good Robot, which is solely dedicated to non-for-profits. So I think it was such a smart idea to use this for some good, and it's nice. With all the news lately, it's nice to see movies doing some positive things. So I love it.
Dennis?
I agree. It's a very intelligent way to use the powerhouse that is Star Wars to get the fans interested and engaged, because everyone's looking at those videos as fans looking for clues. And remember, before the trailer, this was kind of the first real looks that we got at the tone and feel of the upcoming movie. And I also really like that he showcased the crew, the behind-the-scenes crew, because they never get any recognition.
Didn't he look tired, though? He looked really tired.
No, he really did. I mean, he looked and sounded exhausted. Like to the point where if you didn't know how to recognize exhausted, you'd almost think he doesn't even want to be doing this. Like, this is J.J. Abrams.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for... What are we doing?
Yeah, that's what Schnepp said about Joss Whedon, though, for Avengers 2. And so it's maybe Marvel just cracks the whip on their directors. Like, get to work.
Well, hopefully that translates to a damn good film. All right, what's next?
Despite mixed reviews, Transformers: Age of Extinction racked up a ton of money worldwide, and new installments are definitely on the way. It was uncertain if new franchise star Mark Wahlberg would be returning, and that question has now apparently been answered. In a recent interview with MTV, Wahlberg stated, "I committed to doing a couple more. I can't speak for Mr. Bay, but something tells me we'll be on set soon." John, what do you make of Wahlberg's comments?
Well, first off, it's not a surprise that he's committed to a couple more. We know this now, that in all franchises, when they sign on an actor, the actor always signs on with a multiple film deal. That does not mean they will come back. That just means that the studio says, hey, we need you to come back, then they have to come back. Now, of course, the way Wahlberg is saying it sounds like he's on board, and the way he says, we're going to be in front of the cameras pretty soon, it sounds like that's going to be the case. And if that's the case, that's a damn shame. I'm a big fan of Mark Wahlberg, actually. He was one of those guys who sucked for a long time, but when you read his background and what he did to get better and to work and work and work and work, and suddenly he's an Academy Award nominated actor. He's super. I really enjoy watching him in his films, both dramatic, action, and comedy. I think he's a really good movie star. But he did not work in this latest Transformers, which is almost unfair to say because nothing worked in this latest Transformers.
I was going to say, what worked?
And it didn't even feel like he was a part of the Transformers. It felt like, here's Mark Wahlberg and here are Transformers. At least with Shia LaBeouf, when he was in those ones, it felt like he was part of the Transformers world. This didn't. It's a waste for Mark Wahlberg. It's a waste for Transformers to have him there. I see nothing positive about this. So yeah, not very happy about it.
Dennis?
Well, everyone knows how I feel about this movie. However, it makes financial sense. To the studio, they're like, hey, we had this franchise that made X amount of dollars. What should we do? It's kind of that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they want to bring back Wahlberg because he was in it. They want to bring Michael Bay back, even though he says he's not coming back. He's waiting for all those dump trucks of money to come to his driveway. I mean, personally, I'd rather them just scrap the whole thing or reboot it from scratch, have a new director, writer, producer, new different tone. That's me personally.
It's broke, Dennis. It is broke.
Well, it's broke from our standpoint, but from the audience's standpoint, it's not.
I know. I mean, it's hard to argue those dollar signs because it was ridiculous. And he did this to me again. Bay did it to me again. I was like, oh God, here we go, another Transformers. And then I was like, the trailers weren't bad. They were kind of glossy. They were exciting. The Dinobots, native 3D shot that way. I was like, okay. And then I watched it again, and it was embarrassing.
The trailers were so good.
I know.
It's like online dating, and all the girls' pictures are so hot, and then you meet her, it's like, oh my God.
That was 10
that's
years
what
ago.
Transformers was. That's what Transformers was. It was the hot pictures in the trailer, and then you go to it's like, oh.
They should just have a 5-minute movie, and it would be awesome. Just a music video, and it would be cool.
But it's so frustrating because, Michael Bay, I want him to go back to the Bad Boys and the Rocks and the good films that I loved him for. We know a lot of you out there like that, but to me, that was just all over the place. It didn't even have a cohesive storyline.
Yeah, it was lazy.
Throw it out. Mark Wahlberg, I love him, but you're right. He just sticks out in a bad way in this franchise. And I would like a really cool sci-fi director like Blomkamp or someone else to come and take over the franchise. So here's the hoping. But again, you're right. Keeps doing this, we might not get our way.
Yeah, they've got over 1 billion reasons why they're going to keep going with this. 13 million made in Malaysia, which I thought was interesting. So they're really into these kind of movies. But Mark Wahlberg, at least he still tries different things. So he's at least he's doing original content still. So he's got The Gambler. He's also got a movie coming out, I think, next year called Mojave, which sounds like Moon in the desert. So that sounds really cool. And so at least he tries these things. And I was just rewatching Boogie Nights.
I was just going to say
how good he was.
Dirk Diggler, you will always be that man to us.
He's so good.
But you said the magic word, reboot.
Yeah.
Reboot the Transformers. Reboot it.
Well, wasn't this one supposed to be? They're like,
No.
Not really.
It was supposed to be like a different version of the storyline and like different
Get rid of
stage.
Shia.
Yeah, but no thanks. All right, so Miss Sinead has a couple other items picked out going on in the world of movie news, and we're simply going to say if we buy or sell it. What's first?
In the wake of all that's happening over at Sony Pictures, it's being reported that they have now picked up the rights to the 1983 animated film Fire and Ice, and that Robert Rodriguez will direct the live-action adaptation. The original film was described as follows: a prehistoric battle of the elements as the dissolute ruler of the ice world, Necron, starts a war against the fire people using a massive advancing glacier and armies of subhuman monsters as his weapons. Dennis, buy or sell Rodriguez directing Fire and Ice?
I'll buy it for now. It's based on on that Ralph Bakshi and Frank Frazetta animated movie. It's kind of like a fantasy sword and sandals, Conan the Barbarian, He-Man style. I'm just wondering how big of an audience this thing has, though, because it's going to be like He-Man, but R-rated with more violence. And the scantily clad women, they're wearing like micro bikinis. So I'm not sure if that's going to play very well in his live action adaptation.
That doesn't hook you, Dennis?
It hooks me. I'm all for it, but I just don't know for a wider audience. But for now, I'll buy it.
Alicia?
Well, I think it sounds similar to what he did with Sin City. I mean, he said he's a huge fan of Frank Frazetta, like he was with Frank Miller, so he wants to play homage to that. The girls in Sin City wore nothing as well, but I love Robert Rodriguez. I'm buying this because I think A, Sony needs some kind of franchise, so hopefully this could work for them. And B, Rodriguez has such great energy, and he's so good at creating these visual, virtual worlds that I'm in for anything he does. Plus, Columbia Pictures just bought El Mariachi, the rights to that, so he's got a nice little deal now at Sony, which is good for him.
Good job, Rodriguez. John?
Well, the one detail we're leaving out about Fire and Ice is that it sucked. It's awful, and I'm off the Robert Rodriguez train.
Really?
Let's look at his last 3 films. Like that last Sin City sucked.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, then some people did. Not many, but some.
No, I'm in the minority, I know.
No, I enjoyed it as well. I didn't think it was as good as the first one.
Then
Not
there was
even close.
then that machete film was just terrible. Then he
Nice
did that
word
Spy
salad there.
Kids 4.
Yeah, that was bad.
And like that's his last 3 films. And look, if you're gonna say what would be a good type of project for Robert Rodriguez, Fire and Ice seems like the style match is
Yeah.
right. But I think it's bad source material, and I think right now it's a director who's on a pretty bad streak. So I gotta sell it for now.
I'm not too familiar with the property, but I love Rodriguez. You're right, those films were not great, but still stylistically, I call it explosive realism because that's what it feels like. It's just all these vibrant colors and just these scenes that are very dramatic and intense, and I just think he's a really talented director. So just hearing, the premise, it sounds like a good marriage, you're right, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to expect, but I still will hold out that he can get us back because he's still talented. All those films are still shot really well, even if the content wasn't so great. So hopefully they are more on par with each other.
We need Machete in space.
Which apparently is
I think we're
coming.
gonna get it.
Yes, I'm in for that.
All right, what's next?
The first trailer has been released for the dark thriller True Story, starring James Franco, Jonah Hill, and Felicity Jones. Based on real events, the film premieres at Sundance next month and follows a disgraced New York Times reporter, Michael Finkel, played by Hill, who meets accused killer Christian Longo, played by Franco, who has taken on Finkel's identity. That investigation morphs into an unforgettable game of cat and mouse as Finkel tries to uncover the real story. Alicia, buy or sell the first True Story trailer?
Well, it's really funny watching this trailer because it's obviously them being in serious roles, but because it's those two together, and I think the last time we saw them on screen together was in This Is the End. I just expected it like at some point to turn comedic in some way, but it looks like a really intriguing story, so I'm buying it for now. I want to see more. I don't know the true story behind it. I want to see where this goes. I think we should put it on our Sundance list of ones to watch while we're there, because I also love Felicity Jones. Loved her in Like Crazy and Theory of Everything, so I want to see more from these two.
The Exorcism of Jonah Hill.
Yeah,
that movie was so good. I personally really liked the trailer. I thought it was really nice, because they have both been in their comedic strides, but we know they can do drama. We've seen that, especially, Franco, he's done more, but with Moneyball, Hill did kind of turn us around. He was nominated for an Oscar for that. Even though I don't think that was justified, I still appreciate that he was recognized for a good performance, which he was.
Double nominee, which blows my mind.
Blows my mind over a lot of people. But this content's great. I am a sucker for real life, crime journalistic thrillers. Like, I'm really into that. And I think the two of them have really good chemistry, as we've seen in comedy. So it'll be cool to see this take on it. And especially with everything going on with the interview and everything, it's nice to see, another kind of vehicle for Franco to show that he's extremely talented. So. Dennis?
I buy it. The trailer hooked me. It's so much so that I didn't want to read too much about it because I was worried I was going to get spoiled by the real story. I have to ask, though, who's Jonah Hill's agent? Because the last few romantic interests that he's had in movies are Felicity Jones, Amber Stevens, and Brie Larson.
Yeah.
So someone hooked me up with that agent.
Right?
I guess I was not interested in this film when I was reading about it at first, but it is a big buy for me. I loved this trailer, and I was not expecting to like it. Look, Jonah Hill did not deserve an Academy Award nomination for Moneyball, but he was very good in it.
Yes.
I also don't think he deserved an Academy Award nomination for Wolf of Wall Street, but he was very good in it. And I'm really, after seeing this trailer now, I am stoked to see him in a true dramatic role. And because he looks good, and the thing, at first I was exactly like you. All I saw was the cast of This Is the End, and I expected James Franco to go, mother effer, like out of nowhere, something like that. But after about 20 seconds, I was just into it. And so yeah, sign me up. I'm on board. I think this looks terrific. It's a buy.
All right, what's next?
Dear White People writer-director Justin Simien is teaming up with Anthony Mackie for a new project called Make-A-Wish. Taken from the 2013 blacklist of unproduced screenplays, the film follows a 14-year-old boy with terminal cancer who has one last wish, to lose his virginity, and convinces his reluctant football star Make-A-Wish partner, played by Mackie, to help him score. Amy Rose, buy or sell the sound of Make-A-Wish.
I'm going to buy it for now. I feel like it has a 50-50 kind of vibe, taking a really, dire, awful situation and throwing comedy in it, which is life. It's both parts. And so I feel like Anthony Mackie, he's a star. I'm really excited to have, his own leading performance because he plays supporting roles a lot. And even in The Falcon or, whatever he's been playing, when he's on screen, he's got this really dynamic presence. And I love watching him. And he's just like the most down-to-earth, humble man on top of that. Justin Simien, Dear White People. Talk about a really strong directorial debut. I mean, the way this project came to life, he came in and spoke with us, and he literally, made a teaser trailer to garner interest, which got a lot of views and a lot of support, fan-backed, and then he made this film that is a really sharp and clever satire. Not a lot of people loved it, and a lot of people loved it. It was very divisive, but I thought it was a really strong directorial debut. So pairing those two together sounds great. It'll be interesting to see who they get as the kid. Because, if you get a bad child actor, it's like painful to watch. But we've seen some really good performers this year, like in Chef, the little boy, and a lot of little kids sprouting up. Ty Sheridan, of course, Simpkins, it goes on. So I am intrigued. I think it's going to be heartbreaking and also funny as well. John?
I'm not really enamored with the sounds of it, but I'm going to buy it simply on the basis of Anthony Mackie himself. He is one of the top, probably 5, 6, or 7 most charismatic. You talked about the dynamic presence he brings to the screen. That's absolutely the way to put it. He is such. There's a gravitational pull to him when he's on the screen. Your attention is just brought right to him, and that's only exemplified even more when you meet him in person. Because we've talked to him in person, and he is just the most awesome, just friendly. You want to go have a beer with him immediately. Like, he's just that type of guy. So put him in something. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. So for me, it's a buy.
Leisha?
Yeah, it's a buy for me too. Anthony Mackie is one of the most likable people I've ever met. And you feel like you know him straight away. He's really warm and friendly. Plus, he's so great on camera. I think he's good at doing this mixture of comedy and drama, and I'd love to see him do more dramatic roles. And Justin Simien, I mean, I knew him when he was a publicist. I think he was at Paramount.
That's how I got to know him too, yeah.
So I'm so glad for him that everything's going so well. He made such a strong debut with Dear White People. So I'm so excited that his career is moving forward. It sounds like an interesting mix, as you mentioned, 50-50. I think that seems like a good comparison.
Yeah, and I love that it's Paramount, the studio that he worked for. I mean, it just feels like a great situation to go back to someone that's worked so hard for you to give them their shot like this. So, Dennis?
It reminds me of the Chris Rock joke. I mean, he made a joke about the Make-A-Wish Foundation kids, like, they're like, oh, you want to go to Disneyland? It's like, no, they want lap dances or something like that. But I'll buy it for now. I think the concept is worth it. Like, it can combine what you said, like comedy and drama, and maybe it'll be heartwarming and touching at the end of it. I liked Dear White People. I didn't love it, but I think it was, for a first-time director, a strong debut.
Absolutely. All right, guys, before we get into mailbag, we are going to save a couple minutes at the end of the show for your live Twitter questions. So be nice to Sinead, and she might pick yours out. All right, what's the first mailbag question for today?
Jonathan Bell writes, "Hey guys, great show. I was just wondering who you would like to see host the Oscars that never has before. RDJ would be my pick."
RDJ would be so good at hosting the Oscars. I definitely, actors and comedians are my first preference, people that actually know this industry. And we've seen it before with 2 people hosting. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, with Hathaway and Franco being the example. But then you see Golden Globes, Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. I would want them to host everything. They're so great together. The first person that comes to mind, which is obvious, is Kevin Spacey. He can sing, he can dance, he's an amazing actor, he's so talented, he's got charm, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
He could really keep the flow of the show going as well. And then my nerd heart would really like to see Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy hosted together because I think, again, they have great chemistry, they're charming, they're funny, and they're sharp. And those are all the things you need to keep it moving.
And then you could have a skit with Ian McKellen and
Oh, yeah.
Patrick Stewart.
Oh my God.
Oh, that'd be
Which would
great.
be
Yes,
great.
please. Who comes to mind?
Tommy Lee Jones would be awesome. No, joking.
We're going to give away some awards.
That would be
Good night.
the worst.
Someone's in front. Be quiet!
Be the worst. He wouldn't do it, I don't think, but I would love to see George Clooney because he's so charming. He's really smart. He's got Oscar cred behind him, and to me, he's like modern day Cary Grant. He's got that old Hollywood style that I think works so well for the Oscars, but I doubt he would do it.
Love it. Dennis?
Well, before they announced Neil Patrick Harris for this upcoming one, I would have said him.
He's so good.
My personal choice would be Conan O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's done the Emmys before. He's never done the Oscars, and he for me personally, I don't need someone to like dance and sing and all that stuff because Conan doesn't really do that. I just need someone to be funny and like that knows what kind of things to say. So that'd be my choice.
Have you seen Conan dance? Because it is hilarious. Because he's so lengthy and
Yeah.
tall, and it's so good. I love him. Sean?
I've always said for a long time George Clooney would be a good one because my prerequisite is different from a lot of people's. I like seeing movie personalities
Me too. Yeah.
host the biggest night of the
too.
movie year.
Don't need the songs and dances.
No, and it's sometimes that works. You mentioned the James Franco
Anne
thing,
Hathaway.
and
Sometimes it
Hathaway. That was a debacle.
painful.
That was
And tried really hard.
worse
And
than
Franco did it.
And they tried,
Franco
yeah.
did it.
Franco was stoned.
Yeah, like Ellen DeGeneres, I think has been a car wreck both times she's hosted it. Things like that. But that's not to say, Johnny Carson wasn't a movie personality and he hosted the Oscars. So like there are exceptions. I'm just saying my general starting point is my preference. Movie personality. RDJ is a great pick.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey. I'm on board. I'm totally, especially after last year's Oscars, when I think he was on Jimmy Fallon, and they just talked about the Oscars. This man knows he's a film historian.
Yeah.
He's just incredible. He's an all-round entertainer, and George Clooney. So those would probably be my picks.
Billy Crystal is still king for me.
Oh, he's still the king, but
It's
he's
not
done it
even
before.
close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
I also liked Steve Martin and Alec Baldwin when they did
Yeah.
it. I like
yeah.
those two together.
And Hugh Jackman for his little stint. I just love Hugh.
I mean, I've said this joke 1,000 times, but every time it comes up, it's worth repeating. I remember the one year Steve Martin hosted the Oscars, and it was after Billy Crystal had hosted like 4 years in a row. And Steve Martin's opening joke that year, it's one of the funniest, it's not going to sound funny when I say it, but it was one of the funniest one-moment things I've ever seen in the Oscars. Steve Martin comes out and says, hosting the Oscars is like making love to a beautiful woman. I only get to do it when
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal's out of town. and that to me is
funny.
like one of the funniest moments in the Oscars I've ever
He's
seen.
great.
I'm so excited. Oscars is like Christmas for movie
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
is.
really is.
It's
It's like
so
my
fun.
Christmas.
All right, what's next?
Juan Garcia writes, "Hey AMC Movie Crew, love the show. I'm a huge fan and watch you at least 4 times a week.
Why not 5?
So my question is, what female character do you guys think would be good to have in a Batman standalone film? Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Batgirl? What are your guys' picks? I think I'd like to see Poison Ivy. Thanks for all your good work and awesome entertainment."
Thank you for the question. I'm also on the Poison Ivy train. I did not like the rendition in Schumacher's film, and it was no fault of Uma Thurman because she's a wonderful actress, but it was just so campy and hoaxy and just not what I wanted, and she's a great character with a very interesting backstory as well, so I would like to see that. We just saw a really good rendition of Catwoman in Nolan's film. And there are so many other good female interests of that, so I'd rather someone else. And when Anne Hathaway's first cast, I was like, really? And she proved me wrong, so you never really know. But yeah, Poison Ivy is my first vote. Dennis?
I'd go with Catwoman or Poison Ivy. I don't like people are gonna hate on me for this, but I don't like the idea of a Batgirl in this universe.
No,
it
me
doesn't
either.
work.
No,
It's like,
no,
what is this,
no.
a franchise now, And there's gonna be Bat Kid and Bat Dog and
Yeah.
Bat Cat and Bat
I'm in for
Bird.
Bat Dog.
Stop it! You're giving people ideas.
I know, like, it's just silly. Yeah.
Bird. I like that one. How does that work?
But yeah, those two, any of those two.
John?
I think the reason Anne Hathaway, and I'm totally with you, and Anne Hathaway was cast as Catwoman, did not like the casting.
No.
She ended up being the best thing in that movie. But I think one of the things that made her work so well was that she was so non-comic booky.
Exactly.
And
Grounded.
It doesn't matter whether I look at Poison Ivy or a lot of the other female casts in the pantheon of Batman characters. They're all real comic booky, and I just don't know that fits. So, but I feel the same way about any of the other male characters. I don't want Robin in this damn universe either. I just don't. And not that they're not great in the comic books and great in the animated stuff. That's wonderful. I don't want them in this live-action universe. So for me, it's almost none of them.
But it's been a lot more grounded. You can see the tone just set by the DC films thus far.
Yeah,
so
which is why I don't know if they would fit.
Or they would just make it more like Catwoman was in Nolan's, where it is more, lively and like down to earth. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
You don't want Arnold back?
No.
Okay.
Freeze. No, they had that in Electro, right? With Amazing Spider-Man. So pretty similar.
That was super grounded, actually.
Super
Very
grounded.
grounded.
I would have said Harley Quinn, but
Yeah.
we're getting her anyway in
Yeah.
Suicide Squad because her character for me, just not reading comic books but hearing all about her
She's
story
amazing,
arc and
yeah.
her tragic love story, that is so interesting. You could definitely go very grounded and real with that one. And I would say Poison Ivy just because I want to know more about that character. I didn't really get to know much about her with Uma Thurman, although she looked hot.
She did. Yeah, the Doctor turned crazy is great. And then that would set a platform for Joker to be Batman's main villain as well, because they exist together. So
I
we'll
can't wait to see that, yeah.
All right, Ms. Sinead, what piqued your interest for the Twitter question today?
At Unlimited Power tweets, will we see someone of Daniel Day-Lewis's caliber in a comic book film? This seems to be the path that a lot of actors are now taking.
If I were a gambling woman, and I am, I would tell you that we're never going to see Daniel Day-Lewis in a comic book film. That is not his style in any. I know we've seen Robert Redford and some other incredible true thespians, but like, no, we're just not going to. Sentiments?
5 years ago, I would have agreed with you.
Really? Daniel Day-Lewis?
Look, but when you talk about when the question asks Daniel Day-Lewis types, well, it's already happening. The Daniel Day-Lewis types are already happening. We've got George Clooney, although we don't want to talk about what his appearance in that. We've got him. We've got Russell Crowe, Academy nominee, Academy Award winner Russell Crowe. We got Al Pacino. Looks like he's gonna be shown. We have Robert Redford. We got Ben Kingsley. We've got pretty much the only guy left is Daniel Day-Lewis. And I think what you might see happen here is what Sir Anthony Hopkins talked about when he agreed to do Thor. And he said, I remember we talked to him, and he was like,
for his kids,
not his kids,
grandkids,
his grandkids.
yeah.
He was like, I'd never really thought about doing something like this, but my grandkids loved it. And they said, Grandpa, why don't you do something like this? All right. And you know what? I think it might be one of those situations. Look, Daniel Day-Lewis loves his art. And he clearly doesn't care really that much about the money. I mean, they all care about money, but he knows he makes enough money as it is. He does like one film every 2 or 3 years instead of like 5 a year. But I got a feeling once the grandkids start tugging on his pants, say, Grandpa, can you fight Superman? All right, I'll go fight Superman. Look, would I put money on Daniel Day-Lewis being in a comic book film before the end of his career? No, I'm not willing to put money on it. But I am not so sold against the idea that it might actually happen as I was a couple of years ago.
I am, and everyone you mentioned, other than Ben Kingsley, is not the caliber in my eyes
But
as
who
Daniel
is?
Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis,
He's
who
in
is?
it's like
I
Meryl
would say
Streep and
Joaquin
Daniel
Phoenix,
Lewis.
which looked like he almost was going to do
And
it.
you know what? I'm going to tell you,
didn't.
at the end of the day, he will be in one too.
But
I don't know, because of the reason you said before, how they have to sign on
Yes.
for
For
so many.
multiple,
And especially Daniel Day-Lewis in particular, he demands at least 1 year to prepare for his character.
Yes.
And I can't imagine a lot of these big studios like Marvel giving him 1 year to prepare and then waiting another
If anyone was going to get that time frame,
And
it would be
It would be
Daniel
him. He's the one you
he
make
doesn't do them
allowances
back
for.
to back either. He doesn't
No.
go 1 year, 1 year, 1 year. He just does one and then takes years off. And so I don't think he would. And I think we're starting to see better actors in these movies, but still not quite to that caliber. I was glad that Joaquin Phoenix pulled out of that one, because can you imagine him at Comic-Con?
Oh,
Can you imagine
what a-
him doing
Get this
interviews,
in the corner.
doing
Awkward.
junket interviews for 4 days? No.
I see everyone else except for Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Because, he I don't think he's interested at all. And imagine how method he is. If he had to do anyone that was super powered, whether it was villain or hero, he would start being like, I can fly, and, jump off a building or something like that.
Yeah, we don't want to give him too much power, because
No.
he could be method and be.
But you tell him, 2019, we want you, for one film, because this character's only going to be in for one film, we want you to play Ra's al Ghul in 2019.
What
Go.
about someone like Meryl Streep? Would we ever see her in a?
We saw Glenn Close, which I never would have guessed. So.
Yeah, I mean, so Meryl Streep, what's really unfortunate, though, because of the history of comic books and the comic book movies, is that there's so much more limited roles for like iconic
Older.
female actresses
course, yeah.
to come in place. So, I mean, you get Glenn Close, you got to give her Nova Prime, something like that. So that's one of the really unfortunate parts of where we're at today right now.
Yeah, great question. I don't think so, but we'll see. We'll see in time. Mark this topic right here. All right, what's next?
At Soccer Boy wants to know, when can we expect another Indiana Jones?
I mean, we've been hearing, murmurs of it happening, and after Crystal Skull, everyone was like, wah, wah, and Harrison Ford did say he was interested. I haven't heard an update for a while. Have you guys?
No, just a lot of unfounded speculation
Yeah.
and conjecture and false reports. I think Indiana Jones is a rich, both mythologically and financially, franchise. It is now one of the pillar cornerstones of the Hollywood mythology. The Indiana Jones franchise. It is what it is. And so you always have to keep your eye on the possibility of doing one if you're a studio. But at the same time, look, I know Harrison Ford wants to do another one. I'm telling you right now, if I'm a studio exec, I don't make another one with Harrison Ford. I think it's time to move on from Harrison Ford. I think it's...
Wash your mouth out.
I know.
with soap,
Trust me. I'm going to have to go and cry after saying that because I shake in the presence. I love Harrison Ford, but look, I think the last one showed it's time to move on. It's time to go back to the Nazi era. It's time to get a younger guy, whether it's a Chris Pratt or whether it's somebody else to play the role again. It's just, look, Harrison Ford right now is 6 years older than Sean Connery was when Sean Connery played his dad. I mean, just put that in perspective. And it's just, it's not clicking anymore. And I don't want, this is just my personal feeling, that's all. I don't want Indiana Jones in the late 70s. Not age-wise, in the 1970s. I don't want Indiana Jones in the 60s or 70s. I want Indiana
Cool
Jones where
decades.
he's supposed to be,
You and Nazis. He always brings up the Nazis.
I want him fighting Nazis.
After the show, John's gonna go back to his house and go look in the mirror and start slapping himself because of what he said.
Make that meme. Ready? Go.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything new for a while. I remember Chris Pratt being mentioned, talk about Shia LaBeouf coming back, but I don't want to see another Indiana Jones. I was happy with the 3. Let's forget number 4 and just focus on how good the 3 were.
The 3 are so
The
good.
three are so
good.
good. And
you know
also
what?
different.
It's very popular to say this, but I will say this, as much as I don't like the 4th Indiana Jones, if you take the name, and I'll still hold this, if you take the name Indiana Jones out of it,
Yeah.
and say it's Croc McGee, Adventurer is the name of it, right?
Good
And
name.
you do,
Sounds Australian. Croc
almost
McGee.
that exact same movie, but with no expectations of what it's supposed to be because it's an Indiana Jones film. I might think, it's not a bad little adventure film. But it is not worthy at all of the Indiana Jones name, and it doesn't feel consistent with the Indiana Jones, and so it feels even worse.
I felt that way about Bourne. If they didn't have Bourne Legacy and it was a standalone action film, I would have liked it more.
Croc
but
McGee,
compared to the other, see, I'm in for
Croc McGee for everything.
Croc
pitch that
McGee
one.
wins the day. All right, we have time for one more.
Sundell wants to know, if you guys can bring any device from movies to real life, what would you bring?
This is good. I mean, Batman's gadgetry is amazing. Mission Impossible's gadgetry is pretty amazing. Probably the DeLorean, though.
Yeah.
Fembots from Austin Powers.
Of course.
Obvious. The answer is obvious. A lightsaber. Damn it.
Well, those exist now, so.
A lightsaber is what I would have.
Alicia?
I don't know. I always think time travel would be awesome. I don't know about gadgets, X-ray glasses.
Yeah.
I always
terrifying, actually.
say this one in conversation, the transporter from Star Trek. Imagine
sure.
how it would change
Yeah.
everyone's lives. You could go visit anywhere in the world to do anything. Like,
No
let's say you want to
traffic.
get lunch, right? You take it and it could transport you to Italy, and you can have an authentic Italian lunch,
Let's
and
do
then you
it.
take it back to where you live. And also, you could live not near where you work. It would just change everything. So that would be for me.
How
It's
about
not
the
a-
magic pen from Prince of Persia?
That's good.
Ching, ching, ching.
Or how about, it's not a device, but my precious.
Oh,
ring.
the ring. Yeah, that's not really a
Yeah.
gadget, but yeah.
I said it's not a gadget, but
If it didn't
does
send you
some cool
crazy,
things.
Yeah, but
pretty
it'll
cool.
destroy you. But
Yeah,
yeah,
if
something
it doesn't
kinda cool
destroy
to
you.
watch.
Destroy your
It
soul.
worked out for Sam and Frodo, all
I
right?
had the cloak from Harry Potter.
Yeah, I was just
Oh,
thinking
yeah,
that.
that's a
The
good one,
invisibility
too.
cloak. That's what I would want.
Or Magneto's powers. I'm just gonna go on a complete tangent now. All right, guys, we're gonna cut it right here. Thank you so much for joining us for our last show before the holidays. I'd like to thank My boss, sitting to the left, John Campea, switching chairs with me for the day.
Yeah, guys, you can find me on all the various social media networks, on Facebook, on Twitter, at John Campea. And while this is our last AMC Movie Talk, for the holidays start, we will be putting up new content and new videos over the week. We've got all of us on the crew are going to be giving you our top 10 most anticipated films of 2015, as well as our 5 least favorite films of 2014. So keep your eyes open over the coming days for those videos to start popping up.
And I bet you could guess a couple of those films. The lovely Alicia Malone, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Alicia Malone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Dennis Sun, producer extraordinaire.
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or on Instagram, dennis.tzng. And hope you guys have a good holidays.
Sinead DeFries, our wonderful gatekeeper for today. Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Sinead DeFries and at thatsosinead.com. You guys enjoy your holidays.
And I'm Amy Rose with AMC Movie News. You can find me at Amy Rosie on the various social channels. And don't forget, our last AMCI Indie Spotlight is also up. We talk about the best indie films of the year. We're going to be doing that with Movie Talk as well, just all of the list total. So really exciting time to be a movie fan. Have a great holiday season. We'll see you soon, guys.
Hey everyone, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.